Good morning, everybody. This is Coffee and Book Chat, Sunday Coffee and Book Chat. I'm on my first cup. I don't expecting to read anything this week. I'm hoping to get to some of them. I decided what I'm going to do is I'm going to read. I'm going to try. I'm going to try to read a little bit out of this book, Depression and Child's Ice Limit, every day. Don't know how much. No, I'm not going to put myself on a certain page count. I'm just going to read a little bit of it, and then I'll switch over and read a little bit of this each day. Maybe a chapter, maybe two, depends. Hey, cool gamer, and I probably sound like crap because I have just woke up. I'm on my first cup of coffee, and so I'll be reading a little bit of this. The main read to start this week out with will be The Marsh King's Daughter by Karen Dion. And this is going to be the one that I am following really closer. So this is going to be my main read at the beginning of the week. And hopefully I can get this done. Then once I get this done, I am hoping to start and finish Anne Rice and Christopher Rice. Hey, Terry. Hey, Paul. Okie dokie. But that's what I'm going to be trying to do. I'm going to be reading a little bit out of these books, but I'm going to be concentrating at the beginning of the week a lot on this book. So if I can get more, I'd like to get a few more books done before the end of the month. I already got 5 done this month. I didn't read nothing last week. I really didn't. I read 32 pages out of this book. That's all I read last week. And I really need this week and next week. I need to see how much I can get done. So what you up to, Terry? Cool gamer. The guest is up here. Yeah. How you doing, Paul?
I'm actually doing really good. I'm in the midst of a couple different things. One of it, reading that new James Rollins book. I put it on the shelf. Very well done. Very good so far. And then I'm in the midst of doing a jigsaw puzzle for something.
Awesome.
So I will show you the picture real quick.
Okay. I like jigsaw puzzles.
I haven't done one in years.
Right.
And it does come with a poster of what the picture is.
Awesome.
So hey, I figure why not try something new? It's a Sunday. You got all the time in the world. So
are you going to be gluing the puzzles together and hanging them on your wall?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
And then I have various other things I'll be doing too. I just couldn't find the picture because it's under the puzzle or the book. But yeah, I started reading High Tide. Very well done.
Awesome.
Now I'm waiting for my Preston Child book, which is still on order. But yeah, that's one of the many projects I have. I showed the paint by number kit I got, which is on a canvas, which you can frame or stretch over a wooden canvas. And then I have other things I'm expecting in the mail over the next few days. So
awesome.
And this is the first time I mentioned this, I'm going to even attempt a diamond dot because I accidentally ordered 2. Me and Erica both have the same one. And I know she's done like almost 50 of them at least. And this will be my first one, but I'm going to attempt to do one.
Right.
I'm not saying I'm going to be any good or whatever, but I'm going to attempt to do one just to try something new.
Well, the thing is, I know I couldn't do a diamond dot because those things are too little for me.
Yeah.
So,
Well, thank God she's got a light board and all this other stuff to go with it. Over time, she's accumulated enough stuff, so it's actually easier. There's better table lamps and lights. There's a whole bunch of stuff. Once you get into it, you can buy it where it becomes easier,
right,
but it's still a project.
right. Yeah, understand that, Terry. It is a Sunday, and most people
I ain't
probably
going to show you, but that is it. I'll show it off at progression as I'm doing it, but I accidentally got two.
Mhm.
So I figured, okay, I'll have her do one, show me any tips and tricks. And I've been subscribing to other people's channels of different art and
Right.
diamond dots. There's tips and stuff I've never seen on any YouTube channels. Oh, try this or try this. I've been watching them since I got up this morning. It's like I didn't know about any of that. Nobody ever talks about it.
Right. Now, going back to the jigsaw puzzle, the last jigsaw puzzle I put together was popcorn.
I
The
think
whole-
the last one I did was like 15 years ago, but I enjoyed them when I was younger. But it's harder to do with your hands nowadays.
Yeah, but the what I'm talking about, the whole picture was nothing but popcorn.
Oh,
So-
ouch.
So every piece looked almost alike.
I couldn't do those. It's too hard for me.
And there was how much was it? 1,500 to 2,000 pieces. So the pieces was very small. That's
Yeah,
the last one.
Yeah, I made a mistake. I bought two 1,000 piece and one 500,
Yeah.
and I'm left-handed. I bumped a drink over half of the pieces. So I had to trash it because the pictures on the pieces completely separated.
Yeah.
It happens, I guess.
Yeah.
But I put it on the wrong side. I put it on this side, instead of this side. And the first thing I do is bump my what I'm drinking all over the pieces.
Yeah. Well, when I'm trying to do that, what I do, I have a separate stand for everything I'm drinking or eating.
If
So
I had the room, I would, but this is the other one I'll be doing.
okay, I like that.
I found a whole bunch of places that are have a decent price, but you do have to watch it daily on Amazon because of anything with arts, crafty type stuff.
Yeah.
Prices change daily.
Right.
So you got to, or they'll send you something in the mail. Hey, we got this on special or sale. And I will say most of the time, the specials or sales are only like $1 off.
Right.
Well, unless it's during the holidays, and they'll probably give you something more. But I am really enjoying this one so far.
Good.
454 pages, and it's got a lot more than I thought it would have in it.
Right.
It takes place off the east coast of Australia or north of New Zealand.
Mm.
And it talks about the history. There's stuff they talk about where one person is together with someone from, she is from Vietnam, and their traditions and how they do things over there, their New Year's. It's like a learning experience as you read their books.
Right.
And a lot of the stuff I've never heard of or didn't know.
Yeah, like I was saying, I'm going to read a little bit out of this book every day. I'm going to read a little bit out of this book every day. And these two books are the ones that I'm just going to read a little bit at a time. Because we got almost 2 weeks left. And I want to try to see how many more books I can get finished. So I'm going to make the skinnier books my main priority.
Okay, that reminds me. least this time I put them where I can find them.
That's good.
But I figured since I'm on live, I might as well show these off because these are the ones I collected for free from the local library.
Okay.
Old site. These are all urban fantasy,
Awesome.
industrial magic,
Okay.
and the first one is haunted. I just love the pictures on them.
Right.
And you got Curse Embraced, C.C. Robinson, and I have the second one here somewhere called Touch.
Awesome.
A little bit of color in this one, but I don't mind. I don't care. Doppelgangers.
Okay. I never heard of any of these books.
I haven't either. They were giving them away for free, so I figure even if
C.C.
I don't
Robinson.
read them, I can give them out. So
Right.
Beyond the Pale.
Beyond the Pale, yeah.
Demon in Me.
Okay.
This is more romantic, but hey, it's a romance book, so but it does have urban fantasy touch.
Right.
The Great Witch.
Huh.
So I figure, hey, they're for free. If I don't like them, I can always give them away to somebody,
Yeah. Erica might like them.
Well, actually,
Hey,
talking about
George.
Erica, she started reading that new Kim Harrison book.
Okay,
Right now.
so I can see raves now.
Yeah. Yeah, she just started, while I'm reading in that James Rollins book, she started the Kim Harrison book.
Okay.
So, and I don't know if you can see, but I'm in a big process.
Right.
I got a lot to do. I only work on it a little bit a day because I'm trying to get back into it. So,
Right.
yes, we can see you.
Yes. We can see you, raves. I told y'all I was going to work on it.
And Reyes, just to let you know, I was on and off, not on panels, but on lives yesterday. And a lot of people the last few days have been buffering. There is a lot of people where people couldn't even get on panel, or you couldn't even hear them in the background, much less see them. So I think it's, in my opinion, is a StreamYard problem.
Right.
But that was multiple people.
Right.
Every live I went to was having this problem the last 3, 4, 5 days straight.
Right. If anybody else wants to come up and talk about books, you're more than welcome. I just dropped the link. Okay, he's getting something to drink. But my main read this week will be Marsh King's Daughter by Karen Deal. And
Have you started that one yet, or no?
Today will be the first day of reading it. But I did start the Preston Child one.
Okay. And Preston Child will be the third book out of my Halloween-thon already. This is number 2. And I already read number 1. So I only have 2 books left to go because I want to start on yours. And I can't start on yours till I finish mine because I can read mine at any time. So
Well, this book here is the first book on yours that
Okay.
and I'm going to keep this last because it's thicker than these other 2.
Oh, yeah. You always read the smaller ones first, especially if you haven't read or taken a few days off. It's easier to get back to it when you have the smaller ones. Novelettes, novellas, however you want to call it.
Yeah. Yeah, Rays, I understand you have to do housework. But anyway, but that's what I'm going to try to do. I'm going to try to get the Marsh King's Daughter done. See, it'd be awesome if I can get the Anne Rice and Christopher Rice book at least half done this week.
Yeah, if you can get through Ice Limit 2 is, I think it's the amputated or mutated version of the first one. They have to go slow for you to understand it. And then
Right.
part 2, it amps everything way up. So I gotta, like you, I'm pushing through getting through the first one, but the second one is way better.
Yeah. I'm okay. I mean, that's okay, Ray. We understand. We all have our days that is emotionally tough on us.
Yeah, we all have those type of days where I'm not going to go into it, but yeah, I understand, Rich.
Yep. Me too.
Where you feel, I'll put it this way, I like to use the word emotionally detached.
Yeah.
Probably because I read a lot, I just come up with weird stuff.
But yeah, I mean, August 11th is the one that I'm emotionally detached.
Yeah.
So we all have our bad days.
And hello, Terry, Cool Gamer, and anyone else I might have missed.
I think those the only ones besides Braves that's on here.
Okay.
But every once in a while, I will drop the link for people to come up, and that doesn't mean I'm twisting nobody's arm. It just means if they want to come up and say what they're reading or talk about a book that they want to read, it'd be awesome.
Yeah, Raves, I did hear about that. Sorry to hear about that.
Yeah, I knew that, and so you just take care of yourself the best you can. That's the only thing we can do on those days.
Yeah, try to get your mind on something else. Put it somewhere else, because otherwise you'll think about it all day. I've been there myself. That's all you'll think about unless you're either talking to somebody, getting involved in something. Put your minds on something. Did not think about it, if possible.
And honestly, drinking don't help because that just makes you want to think about them even more.
Yeah, it actually got me more depressed and more thinking about it.
So, but yeah, I mean, that book here is something else. It's the dollar is actually the dollar of the Marsh King, which is a serial killer and kidnapper.
Okay.
And she is the daughter of one of his victims that he raped over and over and stuff like that.
We never said you can't drink tea, Reyes. Where'd you come up with this? I think she's making up stuff.
Yeah, nobody said nothing about tea at all. You can drink all the iced tea you want.
There you go. I will say sweet tea is probably one of the best drinks I've ever had.
Yeah. But like I said, I'm on my first cup of coffee.
And I can't decide today. Regular. They're both sugar. They're both 0 calories, no sugar. One's vanilla, one's regular.
That record looks like it should be a cherry.
Yeah, I know. But I figure with all the coloring stuff I'm getting into, why not have the cans different?
Well, we only bring that up because we know you can't stand iced tea.
And Erica says hi, Raves. She is here.
Hello, Raves.
Hello, Erica.
Hello, Yankee.
She just started reading this one a couple of days ago.
Awesome.
So, she was confused about a couple things, but she also said that I also know she hasn't read one in a while. So she's talking about going back after this one and reading the last one over because you do forget about stuff. Or there's an in-between book you didn't know about, or, it happens.
Well, the thing is, that's why I haven't started that, that because she's still writing them, still bringing them out. And I do like to read them after they're already done.
Yeah.
That way I can go right to them.
And a lot of books, like you've mentioned, are ebooks only, kind of a wrap up or an in between, or kind of helping you understand. But
Right.
it looks like a lot of writers are doing that like a year, 2, 3, 4 years down the line. They'll make an actual book form or pamphlet form for the in between, and you got to wait till it comes out.
Well, the thing is, there are some big names authors that is actually going to self-publishing also.
Okay. Cool.
Brandon Sanderson's one of them.
Okay, that I've heard. I've never read anything by him, but I see a lot of people that read his books and enjoy it. I know they're not small books.
Right. But I think what he's writing is that he's self-publishing is more, what was it called? Not YA, but the younger one.
Oh, like teen adult or something like
No,
that. Juniors
Coming of age.
coming of age.
that or, like from 6 years old up to 12.
Yeah, I don't remember which one that is, but I know what you mean. Yeah.
I used to call it grade school. It's great.
I never knew what it was called, to tell the truth.
Right. Me neither.
But when I
But
was younger, that's where I got all my choose your own adventure books. I love that section just for those books.
Yeah. But yeah, he's self-publishing those books, I think, and because he couldn't get a good deal from a regular publisher.
I understand that.
They wanted more money from him than he wanted to give up, and he does. And I mean, like he said, I don't understand why they want more money for a kid's book than a adult book.
Well, with all the books he's done, I'm kind of surprised there are no movies that based on his books yet.
Well, there's supposed to be a couple movies coming out. The Way of Kings, I think they're supposed to be coming up with a series.
Okay.
I don't know if
For
I
me,
don't-
I'd have to watch the movie to see how far I could get into it. But that's just a me thing.
right. Okay, juniors is what Ray said,
Okay. That I don't know. I don't remember what it's called.
but the let's see. But he is. But that's what a lot of these, big time authors are doing. Take Stephen King's Institute. Before he sent that to his publisher to have it published, he was thinking about doing that as a self-published book.
Okay.
But he decided, well, let's go ahead and send it to the publisher. If they don't like it, then I'll publish it myself.
Okay, Raves, put your iced tea in the microwave and I'll get a hot tea in no time.
But yeah, it's really weird how this is working. See, the people that started out in self-publishing wishes they could get a big contract from a publisher, but there's so much going on in the publishing world that the people that is being published by the big time publishers is going to self-publishing because they're not doing the same deals as they used to.
And just to bring up too, since we both have the same book, from time to time they'll have different covers, but it's the exact same book.
You're right. I mean, yours looks like that. Mine looks like this, but mine's the mass market. Yours not.
Yeah. And every 5-10 years or whatever, they do change covers, but it's still the same book. And I made the mistake when I was younger. I didn't know the difference, so I thought it was two different books. I bought two of the same book,
Right.
different covers.
Now the thing is, I think they need to quit. What they need to quit doing though is, especially with the series, they come out with matching covers for a series, and then when they change covers, they are not matching no more, and they take away the matching covers. They should leave the matching covers out also, so people can have a choice between if they want the matching covers or the other covers. Wait. But I don't know what you think about that, but I think they ought to have both of them at the same time. That way, the people can have a choice of which ones they want.
Well, the one thing I always thought would be cool if it says on the cover,
Yeah,
previously published under a different cover. That
right,
way we know.
right. And another thing I wish they would start doing is start marking the series 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, come on. I mean, you take a look at Death series by Robs. She has 50 some, 60 some books out in that series, and you don't know which one is the first or the last or in the middle. So, I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, we all know Rob is what's her name? I can't think of. J.D. Robb is the same person that writes those romantic mystery type things. Also,
And what do you think too of authors writing under different names? Like we know King has wrote under a few different names. Would
Right.
that confuse people that didn't know who he was?
well, 9 times out of 10, what I think they ought to do, like you take J.K. Rowling, okay? She has a Harry Potter under J.K. Rowling, right?
Yep.
But when she writes for adults, she goes by a man's name.
Okay.
But that's the only time she goes by a different name is to separate the kids in YA from the adult. And that there I can understand.
Yeah, just like kind of like V.C. Andrews, he only wrote actually so many books. And
Right.
then Andrew Niederman, who actually had one of the only guys I ever known that wrote romance, she had him take over, and he's been doing all the rest of the books.
Right.
And he's got his own stuff he does
Right.
too.
Actually, the publisher had him take over because VC Ender name the publisher owned that name
Okay.
because that wasn't even her name. But yeah, from what I understand, this is just from what I understand, even though there's someone out there that says I'm wrong, is she wrote the first series of books. Then she started, and then she started the second series, the second book series, and that's when she died, and the guy took over.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
there's
she asked him personally on her deathbed.
Oh, okay. See,
I didn't know that either. I know she has a tons of different series.
the thing is, what I heard was after she passed, her husband asked me to do it. But I'm glad to hear that she asked on the deathbed because it's harder for a person to say no in that condition.
Yeah, I didn't even know that. So.
No, I didn't either.
Him already started.
Oh, so they started them and he kind of finished them for her?
Yes.
Okay. So I guess she did start a bunch of them, but never finished. So
Yeah. It's just like Sanderson. He finished Robert Jordan's books.
and to me, they're going to be ending soon. Maybe I'm wrong, but the first one she did was very controversial. Flowers in the Attic.
Right.
Now they're coming out with books like Beneath the Attic. What happened in the rest of the house that they never talked about?
Right. I know Flowers in the Attic, the controversial was incest.
Mm-hmm.
From what I understand, I've never read none of the series, but what I understand, the whole series was about incest.
No.
About
So most of the series there was parts that talked about it, that touched on the subject, but to understand that you have to read the first book.
Okay. But
From what I understand, from what I hear from Erica telling me about the books, is a lot of series. It's young women going through the coming of age stage and dating and all, finding the wrong boyfriend and then moving on, or getting a certain talent. And do you want to push that career? Do you want to make your relationship more important? And how through the coming of age you make mistakes. You can be the wrong person. You could have somebody that's abusive or whatever. There's a lot, from what I understand, some of them it's multiple groups of women or girls.
Most of them are about abuse.
Yeah.
These young kids that are getting abused and getting away from that.
And that kind of stuff does happen everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
There is awareness for that should be brought up. But
yeah,
and isn't most of their books mostly dealing with women, but isn't Secret Brother about a guy or a boy?
Which one?
Secret Brother.
That one has to do with the Flowers in the Attic series. They were told that their brother had died, and it turned out years later on that he was alive, and it was after all the other kids that were in the attic had passed on.
Oh, so it kind of separation anxiety too. So
okay,
that happens all the time too.
Yeah.
Especially if I've actually read a few books lately, and the reason I brought up separation anxiety, especially if you've been adopted and you go from foster home to foster home, you just get to know people, you move around, you didn't know these people were related, even talk shows. Hey, I finally met my brother or sister 40, 50 years later.
And I mean, that's one thing, good thing about books, though. But even V.C. Andrews' Flowers in the Attic would be a book that would offend all these snowflakes that's out there.
Yeah, but I can hello, Elena. But the one thing that I think she had to make the book, because some of the incest stuff is still going on to this day in certain areas. There are certain places this stuff still continues to this day. Yes. And if you look at the old horror movie Hills Have Eyes or Long Turn or some of these, that's more of an awareness to it.
Right. I mean, you take Jack Ketchum, a great author for horror.
Yes, I do like him a lot.
But his controversy is he takes a story, a true story, and writes it as close as he can true, but has to throw in a little bit of fiction. And people are getting upset about his books because of that. And the thing is, this actually happened to people.
Like The Girl Next Door. That's the most famous. Now, I did happen to look last year and come to find out not only is there a documentary on that, there are films and biographies of the real story. And that book is very, very close to what actually happened, but the movie is terrible.
Right. Well, the thing is, it's just, I mean, the thing is, people says they want to know what happened to, in real life. But when someone writes a book about the real life stuff, they get offended.
I think because of how graphic and descriptive it is.
Well, that's one thing that I liked about Jack Ketchum, though, is he is descriptive.
And that is hard for some people to read. I understand that, but
true. But the thing is, there's people that would give it a 1 or 2 star when it should be, I think, a lot higher, like 4 or 5.
I do agree, because I'll take, for example, the ones I read the least amount are true crime.
Right.
And
Me
part of
too.
it, because some of them can be graphic, some can be descriptive. And to
Right.
me, the most horrifying thing out there is stuff that happens in real life.
Right. Well, the thing is, real life is the worst horror story or movie ever done.
Yeah.
And by saying worst, it just means if it was a movie, people probably would enjoy it. But since we have to live it, I don't enjoy it very much.
Yeah, and talking about controversial books, there is a book I read last year. For me, it was hard to get through. It was in the teen adult section. It was called My Best Friend Dahmer.
Okay, I never heard of that one.
It was a book on how Dahmer went through elementary school, junior high, and high school, and how he got these thoughts in his head, what he was doing leading up to what he actually did.
Okay, Dahmer. Okay.
Yeah, Jeffrey Dahmer.
Okay.
It was hard for me to read, I'm going to be honest. And it was, they have an animated or comic graphic novel type version and the actual novel of it.
Okay.
But I thought that was very controversial.
Mm. But I mean, thing is, people is actually offended by Dr. Seuss, and that is stupid. I mean,
I thought
I mean-
Dr. Seuss was cool. He made up his own little realm or world.
I know, but there's a group out there trying to get him banned because they're saying that he's racist.
Really?
Yeah.
I'll have to look that up. I never heard anything, bro. I got information I didn't know about. So
But that's one thing I heard, and I'm like, it wasn't racist. I mean, what that just proves is people, if they don't like something, they're going to they're going to turn around and call it racist or something just to get it banned.
yeah, same thing with like Jar Jar Binks of the Star Wars.
Right.
You know, there's always, like you said, there's always going to be somebody that's going to hate something because it's too realistic.
Right. Now, me, I hate Star Wars, but I ain't going to say nothing, you know, that it's racist or nothing, because it ain't. Even though it only had one black person in the beginning. In the first movie.
Yeah, the one thing about Star Wars is, one, it's otherworldly, it's out there.
Right.
You got to they're creating their own characters. And yeah, there were only so many movies,
Yeah.
but there's over 120 Star Wars books that connect everything. If you really want to know the story, you got to start at one and go through 125, and some are really hard to find.
Yeah. Now, even though I love the show Star Trek, the original, I'm not real big on the original Star Trek book series because the only thing they did was copy the show.
Yeah. For me, it was Next Generation. That's the only one I cared for. I did start with the original like you, but I just thought Picard was probably the better captain in my opinion, but that's my opinion. There's been female captains, alien captains, you name it. There's been so many shows out.
Right. I just wish they would have back before William Shatner, Captain Kirk, took over the Enterprise. I wish they would have did a few movies with Pike
Okay.
or TV shows. Because Pike was the first captain of the Enterprise, but there's nothing before Captain Kirk to truly say anything about Pike.
That's one thing I like about the Picard TV series. It goes back to his hometown, his parents, his relatives. They show him on Earth and on the ship.
Right.
And there are some Star Trek movies out there where it's kind of like a mixture of stuff where they mix up different captains and crew members from all the different Star Treks. And to me, it makes it interesting.
Right. But it's just one of those things that, I mean, but me, I never was a Star Wars fan. I mean, even in 1978, I went with a friend to the movies and watched the very first show, the very first movie. I walked out within 10 minutes. I was just bored.
Yeah, it's not for everybody. Just like the Christopher Golden Myth Hunter series. It's one of the best fantasy series I've ever read. It's only 3 books, but it took me forever to get the 3rd book, so I had to go back and read the first 2 all over.
Right.
Any kind of fantasy creature from orcs, myths, fairies, pixies, you name it, it's in the first book.
Right.
And they just expanded. It's like Hobbit, otherworldly.
Right. Now, I got a quick question for you and Erica.
Okay.
I know Erica's the bigger urban fantasy reader there. But what do you guys think of Patricia Briggs?
Tell the truth, I have not read anything by her. I'm going to be honest. I've heard of her. I've seen her books everywhere. I've not taken the time to actually pick one up.
Okay, how about Erica?
I've never heard of her.
Okay. It has fae in it. It has werewolves in it. It has vampires in it. But the main character is a were-coyote.
Is that the person that does a little bit of Native American traditions? Or,
yes.
Okay,
yes.
That's why I recognize the covers.
Yeah.
Just like Owl Going Back. I don't know if you ever heard of him. He's one of the only people I know, born and raised Native American. He only does Native American horror based on their traditions, religion, beliefs. He's one of the best writers I've ever seen.
Right.
He has been retired for a while, but I go back and find some of his stuff once in a while. It's like, I didn't know that was tradition. I didn't know that's something they follow. It introduced me to a whole new thing.
Right. Now the thing is, even if they would follow each country's horror tradition or myths or whatever you want to call them, those books is awesome. It's just like Africa. Africa has so many myths about creatures and stuff like that a good writer could take any of those myths and scare the crap out of someone. And that's what I like. I like something that's going to scare me instead of something that's going to piss me off. Because me, if I'm not offended of this, but if I would have to say I was offended by any book or anything, that would be the stuff like Twilight, the At Twilight series.
Yeah, I call that the sparkly vampires.
Because the thing is, vampires and werewolves are not supposed to be lovey-dovey. They're supposed to be mean-ass killers.
To me, it was more of a teen version of the adult version, like the TV show True Blood was definitely adults. I mean, they show orgies and everything. I mean, live with vampires. I mean, it goes to the limit and back.
Right.
Charlene Harris is one of the better authors, I think, in my opinion, because her new series is all based on Wild West alien cowboys.
Okay.
So that's completely different.
Now, that's the series that she's only doing on ebook, right?
No, the books are actually out. I think the 3rd book's out already. But it's like Space Cowboys.
Oh, okay. I haven't came across that one yet. But I would have to say, right now, Kim Harrison's probably my number one author. She's an author that if when she comes out with a new book, I don't need to think about it. I just buy it.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's a lot of recommendations people might have either in the chat or the comments of people that write like Kim Harrison. It's
Mhm.
like, okay, I'm going to get introduced to a different author, a different book.
Mhm. But I would have to say that Patricia Briggs is, in my opinion, would be my second favorite urban fantasy author. And I've only read two or three of the series of her first series. And then I decided, well, I'm going to try to collect all the books and then just read them straight through. And I haven't got very many of them because they're hard to find. Seems like.
Yeah, it's the first book of her new series.
Okay, awesome.
But I just thought it was different.
Yeah. But I thought you mentioned something that.
There, I blew it up more, so it's easier.
Okay. I thought the last time we talked about books, I thought you said that she had a series that was only ebooks.
Oh, no, that was Kim Harrison has a new series, 3-book series. It's all ebooks right now.
Okay.
But that's more romance type stuff. She
okay.
writes a little bit of everything. So
Yeah. But I do have some supernatural romance in there, some urban fantasy romance in there, and I'm going to try those someday. I just haven't had the guts to pick one up yet.
yeah, for me, it's a mood you got to be in. It's like, okay, well, I want to try something new or different.
Hey, Judy.
Hey, Judy.
Yeah, I mean, as far as you know how people goes, read authors new to you.
Mm-hmm.
I have a lot of books I've never ever read the authors. So
For me, January is the time where I like to go through anthologies. Anthology, of course, is just a book of short stories,
right,
but it can be huge books. That's how I get introduced to new authors.
right. Okay, since you brought that up, now anthology to me is a book of short stories with different authors in it.
Yes, exactly.
What would you call the books of short stories with only one author, like Stephen King?
I don't know, but I've read a few of them, and I don't know the term for it. But I have read a few, like the last Eric LaRocca. It was all his short stories.
Right.
I thought most of them were really good. There's always going to be one you hate and one you think that is super awesome, but it's more. And I know some writers only do short stories and put them in book form.
Right.
To give you an idea, a lot of authors will take the short stories over time and make them into novels.
Right. Okay. Now, me, I have to say, me, I don't have a favorite genre at all because I like them all. I have genres I can't stand, which is Harlequin romance.
Mm-hmm.
That stuff hate me at all. So, what genre do you have a favorite genre, or
I will. It depending on the mood I'm in. Usually it's horror, but I've been getting more into thriller stuff lately.
Okay.
Thriller, adventure type stuff, just for something different.
That's understandable.
Like the ones I've been trying to pick up or collect lately. Everybody knows who Indiana Jones is.
Yeah.
And this is the Sean Wyatt series is a younger version of Indiana Jones, kind of finding his way through or being thrown in that type of environment.
Okay. So would you say that in that series that the dad has a lot to do with it?
The only thing they really mention about his dad is the books of the writings that he left him. So they never really go into it.
Okay, so he's already dead before he figured out what he wanted to be.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, I was just wondering that because they did make that one movie where the dad was helping him and he was older. So, I mean, Sean Connery's a great actor, but he was getting up there in age at that point in time.
And I do agree the Indiana Jones series needs to die off. There's been too many movies.
Yeah. Just like Star Wars.
And they computer animated him in the new movie that's out, where it looks like he's as young as he was in the first movie. So that's just for people that didn't know.
Oh, I haven't seen the newest movie.
Yeah.
I think I quit watching the Indiana Jones movies on the third one. The one with the little boy sidekick. That's the last one I've seen. Well, I mean, I didn't watch the one with Sean Connery in it because I thought that was ridiculous. Because it was supposed to be, from what I understand, it's supposed to be from Indiana Jones, but what people said was Sean Connery stole the show on that one.
Yeah.
I don't know if he did or not because I never watched it.
Well, I know the newer one, they're trying to end this by having the new one closer to what Raiders was. Raiders of the Lost Ark. I prefer Raiders. Erica likes Temple of Doom. It's just your preference.
Right. But the best part of any of them is that I think it was the first one where he fell down into the snake pit.
Yeah, exactly.
That was so funny.
And any movie where you're going to be killing Nazis is awesome. I'm sorry.
Right.
I just watched one last year where it was about killing zombie Nazis. It was a little out there, but
actually, I think there's a book out about zombies that the Germans got zombies to help them fight in World War II or something. And if I find that book, I'm going to read it. But so far, I haven't found it. I've only heard about it.
now in James Rollins' book, I will give you a little bit of spoiler. There is a part of the book where one of the people that used to be an enemy of Sigma has now joined, or an enemy which was born and raised Triad because of their upcoming and the foster homes and all this stuff. They decided to join Sigma, which is kind of a side thing of DARPA that's not talked about.
Yeah.
And how there's an ongoing war between the Russian mafia and the Triad. And if you know anything about Japanese culture, you know what the Triad is.
Right.
Or aka the new word, the Yakuza.
The oldest word would be the Japanese mafia.
Yep. But I didn't know there was an ongoing thing between those two because she moved over to Sigma. Her grandmother from Vietnam is still part of that other organization. And then they got the thing with the Russian mafia going all at the same time.
Right. I'm just getting me some coffee while we're talking.
That's fine. And they do actually use some actual Cantonese words, which I've had to look up because If they didn't tell you what they were right after they say what the words were, I'd be completely confused because they'll give a sentence in Cantonese, which is her native tongue, and then right after it, they'll give the English version of the word. So I guess you could say I'm learning new words too. I just have no clue how to pronounce them.
There's an app, I think, where you can type the word in, and then the voice comes out and says how to pronounce it.
But I have problems pronouncing certain languages. I'll admit it.
Oh, the thing is, people will say a German word and go, "That's German." I go, "No, it ain't," because you have the wrong voice for it. Because they make it nice and sweet. There ain't a German word that doesn't make a German sound like he's pissed off.
Yeah, Terry, you are right. The Chinese, but there also is a triad. There also is a Yakuza connection to the whole thing too. But yeah, I made the mistake by saying they're Japanese and it's actually Chinese. So thank you, Terry.
Yeah. But the thing is, the oldest one was the Mafia before they split up. Because honestly, because they weren't in a Mafia, was Chinese and Japanese, I believe. Not together, just there was always a connection.
Yeah, and the political uprising in East Asia from like China and all the islands off the coast, how they're different politically and how governmental they are. That's a new word I like to use.
So, the triad is very deadly, and so is the Yakuza. How do you pronounce that word again?
Yeah, Yakuza.
Okay.
So, I'm at the part where they find out that there's 72,000 triad members that have an ongoing war with the Yakuza in Japan and the Russian Mafia. And then you got the American Sigma or Delta, all in this huge war, depending on where you're at, how they try to get around, how they have to be protected in certain areas, both sides. And because they actually have members of different groups, you don't know who to trust.
Right. But the one thing I do like, now the triad, I think it was a triad. If you go back into the comic world, the character Daredevil always fought the triad. Seems like
I've forgotten about that.
Yeah. So I mean, that was always cool. I mean, it'd be nice to find some books about the triad. I mean, I'm sure there is books about the triad and the Yokozuna, or how you pronounce it. See, I can't pronounce everything either. Yeah, Terry knows that those bios about singers and people that does music and stuff.
And the one thing I did like about the book, they do talk about how certain areas you're okay to walk around with, and certain areas, because of the members or the groups, you don't want to walk around in the area day or night because there are so many in the certain places.
Right. I mean, that's just the way. If you think about it, there's a lot of places like that, even here in America. You take where was that? I think we were still in Louisiana, and there's a part of that once it goes dark, it's called the Black Hood, and nobody. And no white person or any colored person would walk on that side a town because even the streetlights are black.
I believe it. And I've heard and read horror stories about people that actually accidentally become middlemen between the two groups.
Yeah.
And that's the last place you want to be.
No, yeah, that's a place for lawyers.
Yeah.
I mean, lawyers has always been the middlemen, and they always cheated and lied and stole from the clients.
Or you get a stray bullet that hits a kid. And,
Right?
you know, there's stuff that happens like that daily.
Oh yeah,
They just don't report on it all the time.
no. So, but anyway, I need to get started on some reading today. I do want to get something read today, even if it's just a few pages out of one of these books. Because my sister made it home yesterday
Cool.
from Ohio, and yes, I think that little vacation did her good up there. I think when someone's, even if you're not working, if you're just get into another state or get into another place, just does relax you a little bit more.
Yeah, everybody needs that type of vacation. Different environment, whether it's a camping ground, park, whatever, just to get away for an hour or whatever. It does help.
I mean, just like me, that one room I've been in there for a few years, and it just feels more relaxing coming into this room now, because I'm not in that room anymore. Only.
Do you think the change in the environment will get you to the point where you're going to read more, or just have just a new concept of reality, so to speak?
It's just when I walk in here, it's like looking at something new, something old, because of my books. But at the same time, it's relaxing. It's
You think it was a change you needed, is what I meant.
yeah. I needed something besides the crap I was looking at in there, and this here, adds that to me. Going outside gives that to me. I mean,
Yeah,
That's
I haven't done a lot of reading either. I'm 100 pages into the book, and it took me like 4 or 5 days to get there.
yeah.
But it's still a good book.
I mean, after I read 32 pages of Making the Child on Monday, this past Monday, that's the last thing I read this week. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I never read one thing. Except for what was on Facebook, and that don't count.
Yeah, exactly.
So hopefully today I can start reading something. Now, what I want to do is read the mass markets in here, and then take these kind and the Anne Rice and all that stuff, and read in there in the evening, because the print's bigger in these.
And that's the other reason I got into these projects, because we were both discussing here. It's like, well, I have all these free horror audiobooks through YouTube I can listen to.
Right.
And what's a better time to listen to them than get into some type of project? Next thing you know, you're done with the project and the book at the same time. So
Right. I mean, that's a good thing, though, because you're doing more. I mean, you're doing two things at one time and getting stuff done.
I was trying to find a way to see. I've wanted to get into audiobooks for a while just to see the difference. And
Yeah.
for me, it's a way, okay, well, I usually only got 10, 15 minutes to listen to one. Then you forget your place and everything else. So if you go a few hours of listening to it, okay, now I remember where I'm at or what's going on.
Right. Well, the thing is, if you do it right, you should be able to turn off the audiobook, and then when you turn it on, it comes right back to the where they left off at.
True.
9 times out of 10, if it's on CD, you don't move the CD out of the player to keep your spot. But I heard that Jim Butcher's series of the Wizard Dresden,
Okay.
the guy that played Spike on Buffy the Vampire Hunter reads those.
Okay. And that is the one thing I've come to understand over audiobooks. It all depends on who's reading it. Some people are so monotone, I don't even want to listen to it. And other people, it's like, man, this guy should do more audiobooks, or this woman should do more audiobooks.
Right.
Man, I understand everything perfectly.
Yeah, the people that's listened to those that I've talked to says that the guy that played Spike does a really good job on it. I still haven't listened to any of it. Last month I listened to 2 or 3 audiobooks, but that was the Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, Dracula, and Frankenstein, and they all was read by the Christopher, the guy that played the Van Helsing in the Dracula.
Okay.
So that's one reason why I listened to those 3, because he was doing them.
Hello, Universal.
Hey, but the thing is, if it wasn't for him re-rating those, I probably wouldn't have listened to those. But I did enjoy him with him reading. And I got some housework done while I was listening to him. So, yeah, it's just one thing or another. And
Hello, Simon.
hey, Simon. So it's just the way it goes. But it's like reading too. When you're reading a book, there's some authors that you're reading and you're like, why did they write it in a monotone style? You know?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense in my opinion.
To me, anything that sounds like a Dick and Jane book is monotone.
That's why I got into listening to a lot of people that do horror stories at night. There are certain places like Swamp Dweller and Mortis Media who you're going to remember every word because of how well they do the story. And some of them are multiple, some of it's one real long story. But you're going to remember every word. Yeah, some of them are kind of young, but because of how they emphasize and read it, you're going to take in everything.
Okay. Sounds good, Universal. I'd like to know what you're reading, and because I'm sure it's going to be good. So
yeah, everybody reads different things, and now that's how you get introduced to other stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody's a slow reader at some time.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you're slow, fast, whatever, as long as you remember what you're reading or listening to or whatever.
Right.
That's all that counts.
Personally, I read a lot slower than I did in my younger days. I mean, my younger days, I could go through three or four books a day and still get stuff done.
It's kind of like my stepmom. She can read a Stephen King novel in one day.
Yeah.
No matter how long it is. She just has the ability to understand and read stuff. And next day she could tell you all day what the book's about.
Right.
Photographic memory.
Right. And,
But I'm sure Paul will agree that we all have books we think they're good or advertise as good, and then you go DNF did not finish.
right. But the thing is, I find out a lot. If a book's hyped, I don't care for it, usually. And if a book is hated, that's usually the ones I like.
Yeah, it's individual preference.
So what I try to do now is, instead of saying I hate this book, it's this book is not for me.
Yeah, I think that's a better way of saying
For
it.
me. I mean, I think that's a better way to say it, instead of coming out and go, this book was terrible, it's no good, don't read it. Don't do that. Just say it was not for me. That's it.
Mhm.
And back in the old days, I used to say, I hate this book, don't read it. But the thing is, that's your opinion, not everybody else's.
Yeah, and I've seen many people where you really can't stand the book, the author, whatever, and other people say, "Hey, this is just my thing, my repertoire, stuff I like to read." That's fine.
And Simon's been reading the Star Wars books recently.
There's so many of them.
The thing is, I don't think I could read a Star Wars book. I had one, and I don't know what happened to it because I don't care. I probably gave it away or something. Donated it to a school library or something.
Yeah.
I do that every once in a while. I rather donate it to a school library, and instead of, I don't really care for donating it to a regular library, because the only thing they're going to do, they ain't going to look at it. They're just going to resell it.
Yeah, what our library does, if instead of putting them on sale like they do where you're at, they put a whole bunch of them out. Just take them, they're free. But I've talked to the people that work there, and they said, well, if we don't put them out and give people a chance to enjoy them for free, we're just going to trash them.
Right.
It's like, well, let me know when you do it. Send me an email, call, whatever.
Right.
Even if it's crappy, I don't want you throwing it out.
Right. And it's just one thing or another. And the thing is, that's the way that you should feel like a book. I mean, if you have a book in your home and you can't stand it, don't trash it. Put it somewhere. Put it in one of those free libraries in your yard, and if you have a yard.
Yeah, if not, they're all over here. I'm seeing them popping up all the time. People have the free libraries outside their lawn or whatever. It's just, hey, just pop one in there. It's not for me, but it might be for you type deal.
Right. It's just, I mean, there are some of those. I don't know what they're called. Those libraries and yards and stuff.
Yeah, I just call them free libraries. I don't know what to call them.
Um,
Over here, it says buy one, replace one stuff, but nobody ever replaces it. They just grab the one they want. Once in a while, I'll donate, but I'll admit I don't always take one, leave one type deal.
Well, only time I seen those was on YouTube or Facebook or something. I've never seen one pop up around here. But then again, I'm not in a town either.
Yeah, the bigger the city, I think the more there are.
I mean, I'm on the outskirts of a town.
Mm-hmm. And when you're out in the middle of nowhere or the edge of the suburbs or even some of the suburbs, they don't really have them. But in
Yeah.
the big cities, everywhere you turn, hey, here's another one, here's another one, here's another one.
I never knew that there was Assassin's Creed's books even.
Yeah,
So-
there's books. I don't know if they're based on the movies or in between, but I have seen the books out.
Right. I've just never seen them. I haven't, to be honest, I haven't been to a bookstore for a couple of years, probably.
There's almost none left over here. I'll be honest. There's like one Barnes and Noble like a mile and a half away, and all the rest are pretty much gone. You used to see thrift stores, bookstores, everything carrying stuff all the time, but
Right.
now they're all disappearing.
Well, the thrift stores now with books, you used to be able to go in there and get them for 50 cents for a mass market paperback, $1 for a hardback, and now it's like $2 for a mass market and $5 for a hardback.
Yeah.
And the thing is, doesn't matter what condition they're in, that they keep those same prices on them.
And be careful when you buy from those places. I bought from those places and I've seen pages ripped, torn out, and everything. So
Right.
kind of look through it before you decide if you want it or not.
Oh yeah, that's the best way to do it. Now I'm thinking about doing this every Sunday. What do you think, Paul?
That's fine. And it's early enough in the day where I can still, like you said, still get stuff done. I still have a few things I got to accomplish, housework, etc. But
Yeah.
this is probably the best time to do it because then from now to probably the afternoon, I got stuff going on. And from there, I'm just taking the day to do whatever, relaxing, reading, whatever.
Right. I mean, Sunday should be relaxing, and this here, talking about books, does relax me, and it relaxes a lot of readers when they get to talk about the books they're reading.
And for me, I keep it mainly as a family day. It's like, hey, Erica, what do you want to do today? If we got something planned or whatever, we try to keep that for a Sunday.
Right. And that's a good thing to do too. But like you said, most people don't even start their day until noon on Sunday.
Yeah. I know other people have stuff like church and this,
Yeah,
whatever
right.
they go to. That's, that's their thing. But then you start getting in the early mid-afternoon, and it's like, take some time, do something you want to do.
Yeah. Yeah, go down to the closest restaurant, a good restaurant, not McDonald's or nothing.
Yeah. Don't want to
Just-
pull a White Castle. You want a sit-down restaurant type
Yeah.
deal.
Right. And yes, you can sit down in McDonald's, but it's fast food. I want some good cooking when I go to a restaurant.
Yeah, exactly. I've actually had good experiences at all-you-can-eat buffets.
Yeah.
Sit there a good hour and a half, take your time and eat just to get time away from your life.
Right. I know.
You're going through.
My sister's off on the 30th. My birthday's on the 29th. My sister's off on the 30th. She's going to run me to the DMV to get my license renewed, and then take me out for birthday dinner. And I think we're going to go to the Chinese buffet
There you go.
because we both like the Chinese buffet, and it's just something good.
See, you're lucky. All the Chinese buffets up here are gone because of rodent problems.
See, that's one down here. Now, the one here in this town, I want to go to. For one thing, whoever's cooking doesn't know how to cook. But you can go to the one in Greer, and that is spotless. It's a spotless. I even walked back in the kitchen, and it was spotless. So,
Now, I did see something that some people may be disturbing on Facebook. I didn't look to see where it is, but there's new coffee shops popping up. They're going to say, well, what's wrong with the coffee shop? It's a Hooters version of a coffee shop.
right.
That's like, why? Are you that desperate to sell your coffee, or does it taste really that bad?
Right. it probably tastes that bad. They probably
That's what I'm thinking. Look at Chuck E. Cheese. You go there for the pizza is terrible, but you go there for the entertainment for your kids. I mean,
right. I agree with that. Now we even have a, I think it's a Pizza Hut, but it's a buffet,
okay.
and they have all bunch of different pizzas up there. They have spaghetti, some other Italian food, and then they have the dessert pizzas. I haven't been.
I really think that's going to be the thing of the future. If you want to survive, you almost have to have an open buffet, whether it's make your own burgers, pizza, whatever.
Right. Well, I mean, there is a restaurant here that's almost like that, because they'll give you a hamburger on the bun, then you go over to the thing and put what you want on there. You know, on your hamburger.
Yeah, there's a place here called Khan's. It's a Mongolian restaurant.
Right.
You go through this line, you pick up all the frozen foods you want, and they'll cook them on a grill in front of you and then bring it out to you when it's done cooking. Or you can sit and watch them cook the food in front of you.
Right.
I thought that was interesting.
Well, in Universal, I don't know why the waitress keeps popping up and trying to sell you something. They should be popping up and refilling your glasses.
True.
So, I mean, I'm a very rude person if something like that was coming around. Now, yeah, at the end of the meal, they will come and ask if you want dessert. But if I had a waiter or a waitress coming up and trying to sell me another hamburger or something, yeah, I would be very rude to that person, and they would not get a tip either. And I will talk to the manager about them. I've did it before.
I will let you know if you do go to Facebook or Google it. There are a few places called the world's rudest restaurants. To me, it's a comedy the way they treat people, but it's kind of like they're schlick. They will come up and treat you like crap no matter what you order, how you order it. You sure you don't want something else with that? Where are you cheap bastard? I mean, they're that rude.
Right.
But it's like their comedy thing. It's just, you can't take it serious.
Well, the thing is, we was at this one buffet. I can't think of what it's called because all the restaurants got closed down. But we was the only people in this one section. They had 3 sections. We was the only ones in this one section. There was a waitress in that one section, and she was, to me, she was rude. She was slow. I mean, we would be sitting down and halfway through the first plate before she even brought our drinks.
Wow.
And that was because she was over there at a different booth, playing on her phone.
That's ridiculous.
And she did not get a tip. I wouldn't let my sister tip her. And I went up, and you know how they always go, "How was your experience?" or "How was your?" And I go, "Well, to tell you the truth, that waitress is a lazy, rude bitch." And they looked at me like they never heard that before in their life.
Wow.
And I told them exactly what happened, and she got fired.
I've had the opposite happen. I've had that happen, not to that extent, but I've also been to some places where the waitress will come by like a minute or 2 later. Is there anything wrong with your order? Can we change it? Is it not done? Very few times you get a waitress that actually comes over. Yeah. Would you like me to replace? Is anything to your liking, not to your like? those are the people I will tip.
Yes. Yes, those are the ones that need to be tipped. And I hate a restaurant that they make them put all their tips in one jar and then they split it at the end.
Yeah, I've gone through that.
The thing is, I would not leave a tip on the table because of that. I will walk up to the person and pretend I'm just thanking them and slipping the tip in your hand and tell them, put that in your pocket. Don't let them know that you got it.
Or you put it in a shutdown thing with their credit card or however you want to do it.
Well, the thing is, when you do that, they have to put them in the tip jar.
Oh, okay.
When you give it to them, they have to put it in the tip jar.
Yeah.
But the thing is, when you pretend you're not tipping at all and slip it and tell them to keep it in the pocket, they usually keep it in the pocket and not say nothing. Because nobody can prove I left a tip.
I will say the worst experience I ever went, yes, it was a busy time. It was during lunch hour or rush hour evening meal. But they had like 5 or 10 tables open.
Mm-hmm.
But when they brought us to the table, they still had food from the last 2 people that were there that were never cleaned up.
Right, and that's
How
very
can you bring me a table that's still dirty? I mean, come on now, really?
right. I mean, that there is ridiculous. I never had that happen to me.
I've had it happen twice. It was 15 minutes after we sat down. They decided to come by. Hey, maybe we should clean the table. I got up and walked out. Just like, no.
Right. I mean, that is very rude and a very poor restaurant, in my opinion.
I mean, there are times I've been to like the suburbs and been to like Chili's or some of these other famous places, and you're standing in line for like 2 hours of rush hour, but
Right.
everything's still immaculately clean.
Right.
Everything's still set where it's supposed to be. You got a line that long, and you're still good enough to keep everything clean and everything's fresh.
Right.
It's worth going back.
Yeah. I agree. Well, I'm going to get off of here. Thank you for coming up.
Yeah, no problem.
And I'll probably do on Sundays for book chat. I'll probably do what I did today. Just send you the link in Messenger.
Okay.
The thing is, because I send the link doesn't mean that you have to. It just means if you don't have nothing else to do and you want to talk, come on up.
Well, I can always leave a comment too that, hey, sorry, I had something going on. You know how you get busy, you know.
Oh, yeah. Maybe you have the puzzle halfway done by the time next Sunday gets here.
Maybe I'll have it done I'm hoping to have it done by then, but there are some touchy pieces, you know, I have weird patterns or whatever. And so even when I was doing the border, it's like, hey, that piece could go here or it could go, you run into that kind of stuff. It went to like 4 different places.
Oh, yeah. So, thanks to everybody for showing up and listening to Book Chat. And this is just to wake up, enjoy talking about books, and enjoying each other's company. That's what this is about. And and every once in a while, I do put the link in the chat and have that anybody that comes up wants to come up and talk about books come up. Nobody took that today, but that's okay because Paul, I sent him a link to him straight to Messenger. So y'all take care, and I'll see y'all later.
Oh, before you go, were you still thinking about doing your sports thing later, or okay?
Yeah.
I just if I know ahead of time, that's why I asked right before you raise your hand in that. But in case you do something, I'll be aware. Okay, you're going to go on later, or you got something tomorrow. I just
I'm waiting for my other 2 co-hosts to wake up, and Terry is awake now. So, and I know that. So Terry, call me after I get off here, and we'll talk about what we're going to talk about today.
I do like the fact that you give like an hour or a half hour notice before you go on. Then I'll get the notification.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, well, I know I still haven't finished what I'm doing, and then I can go there a few minutes late, whatever. It still works. So
And hopefully I'll do some reading sprints this evening.
okay. Well,
So-
now that I know that, I know I'm gonna wait till later to read that. Then I can do other stuff between now and then. So.
Right. But yeah. So everybody take care, and we will talk to you guys later.
Yep. We'll see y'all later. Thanks for being here.